I'm Debbie. I'm a married mum of 3. I had a gastric band put in England 9 years ago, but I've had numerous problems with it over the years. Although I've been living in Spain, I've gone back to the UK and had band adjustments, but it's just really not been the thing for me. This year I made the decision to have it removed. Me and my husband, we made a lot of inquiries, investigated a lot, spoke to a couple of Polish people that we know, and the best company that we decided to use was KCM Clinic. I flew last week from England because I was on holiday. I flew directly from England to here, to Wrocław, and I was met at the airport as promised, brought to the hotel as promised. I've had the operation, and then in 2 days' time I will go back. I will be flying back to Barcelona. Everything has been fine. I've been sort of fully updated on everything that's been happening. The nurses are wonderful, bless them, but you've then got the coordinators. There's 3 of them that I've seen, Magic, Dominic and Evelyn, and they are, they're brilliant as well. My first day out of bed, and I'm doing okay. Just gonna go and pop and see one of the other ladies that I've made friends with, see how well she's getting on.
In the past, I'd ended up in a hospital in France, and I think I lived in a wee bubble where I thought the NHS in Scotland was the only treatment or care that you got. And I ended up in an emergency situation, and the care was absolutely stunning. In a very modern hospital with modern facilities just like the NHS. And I think that made me more willing then to think, if I'm doing something like this, it needs to be affordable, because when you start going, I've been waiting 7 years on the NHS for this surgery. A 7-year waiting list for the NHS, and no nearer getting it. So this offered the way that it wasn't too far away either. Do you know, you could travel reasonable distance. You're not kind of 5-6 hours on a plane when you think I'm going to be sore, and so I think away they things.
I think probably like you, I was happy to come abroad because I've moved from England to Spain, and I've dealt with, at the beginning, my children being taken into hospital for various things, and having to try and communicate as best you can with your hands, and realising that other countries have got good healthcare as well.
And because of the nature of it, they can provide just as good a care. So the environment's clean, it's modern, they've got everything you would need. And I think as well, knowing that the people who are here working, especially the surgeons, they're doing a lot more of these than what the NHS is. So actually they're more expert on the bariatric surgery than what perhaps some of the NHS do, because they're not getting the same throughput.
They're not getting as much experience, are they? They're not getting as much practice.
Whereas they're specialists in it, so they're doing it much more frequently than what they are at home.
And I think it was Dominic, or one of the coordinators, he said to me that they would rather have nurses here that don't speak English but are specialists at what they do, rather than having, they know what they're doing but they speak English. And I agree. I think they've been wonderful.
I think they can communicate. Whether they speak English or not is different to they can communicate. Definitely. Because I've not felt that anything that I've been going through, I've not been able to ask for anything. I've not been able to ask them, and even if they might not understand me right away, they're very able to communicate. So it's not. I don't feel so I've missed out from having nurses that don't automatically speak English. I think they're very good at what they do.
And I think the important people that we need to speak to in English are the anaesthetist and the surgeon,
the cardiologist.
And the coordinators help us out with everything else. So I felt totally calm about the whole thing. I think if I hadn't been able to speak to someone in English about the actual operation, exactly what's going to happen next, why am I got to drink blue liquid after, but they talk you through. They talk you through it.
And I think the other thing that has been so reassuring, although you kind of think, it's a long day, is getting all the tests beforehand. I know, having been in the waiting list with the NHS for a long time and had tests and things, I wouldn't have got the rigorous testing that they've done here. The fact that they do the stress test, the ECGs, the heart ultrasound, the stomach ultrasound. My background's in nursing. I think being a nurse means that you want to be reassured of the health aspects. You want to be reassured that the systems, processes, the equipment that they use, the environment they use has appropriate arrangements for things like infection control and all the things that maybe you don't think about if you're not a nurse. But if you're a nurse, there's a wee added element, and that was the kind of thing that I needed, the extra part about, right, so how does it work? Is it a hospital environment? Is it, you know, what equipment do you use? And also when you're here, that's the kind of thing that means something to me. When I see the nurses coming in with their gloves and making sure that they wash their hands frequently, and that, you know, they're all the things that are really important. And as a nurse, I think you recognise these things. You've got cleaners coming in very frequently, you know, like you make sure everything's done, and you do notice them as a nurse because they're the kind of things that you pay a wee bit more attention to.
When I had the gastric band put in, I flew from Spain to Birmingham to a very good clinic there that I'd researched to have the gastric band, and I didn't have hardly any tests. I had blood tests, and I think I had an x-ray, and that was it. I never had the camera down in my tummy, I never had a stress test, I never had the ultrasound or anything like that. Yeah.
I think what that meant for me...
And that's an English clinic as well.
And what that meant for me is, when I was asking people why they do all this, what they're saying is they want to make sure the surgery is as successful as what it can be and you're as fit for it as possible. That reassures me.
Yeah.
I like people saying the surgery and the money doesn't come above your health.
No.
That suits me.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's reassuring to me. I don't want people to put the profit or the money above whether it's right for me to have the surgery.
Yeah.
So doing all that before and insisting you come before so that you've got time for the testing.
Yeah, I've been very happy, and at the beginning as well, when I was asking questions to Philip, it was then at the time, he was so informative, and it didn't matter how many times I sent him another email. Can I ask you about it? Yeah, no worries. Yeah. I know that there's obviously several different procedures. You can have either a gastric sleeve, you can have the balloon, you can have the band, you can have the bypass, you can have the mini bypass, and all of them are suitable for varying different people. Some are better for other people. I opted to have the sleeve or the mini bypass for medical reasons for me. Originally the band, as I said before, didn't work, so I've chose to have that done. The most I know about it really is that it's done laparoscopically, where they, what they cut out the hungry hormone, which I wanted to say goodbye to. The part that appealed to me was they were removing the hunger area of the stomach. So ghrelin, I believe it's called, is produced at the upper part of the stomach, and that's the part that's removed. So not only do you get a smaller area, so you get the restriction that limits your food, but you also feel less hungry with it. And because you've got the absorption area, in the longer term, yes, you might still have to take some supplements, but in terms of if you get your food right, you can get the majority of your supplements, the vitamins that you need through eating really well, because the absorption area isn't removed. Whereas in a bypass, you have to take lifelong vitamins and supplements and stuff.